Hi, my name is Dune Johnson, and I guess I'm going to be your host for Doonie's Ballooney Looney Toonies, and we're going to go over all the basics of learning how to make basic balloon animals. But before we go any further, I'd like to introduce you to the one person who taught me everything I know, and that's Dooney the Clown. Oh, hi there. My name's Dooney, and I guess Dune just introduced me, and am I supposed to... Oh yeah, I was supposed to talk to you about the whole reason we're here. Well, I've been lucky enough to make a living out of making these silly little animal balloons for about, 9 years now. And one of the great things about this is I have so much fun doing it because, you know, I create balloons for people and they have fun, and then I have fun, and we all have fun, and it's just such a fun thing, and you're going to have so much fun once you learn it because you'll make balloons for people and it'll be fun. I mean, balloons are just plain fun, you know what I mean? Oh, well, as a matter of fact, these particular balloons are also fun, and balloons are fun everywhere. Fun is just fun, but let's talk about what we're going to talk about, because that's what I'm here to talk about. We're going to have a tape. We're going to teach you all the very basics. Dune's going to do all that kind of stuff for you, and he's also going to stop the tape and give you a chance to practice and stuff like that. But one of the things that is so nice about this is that we get a chance to share what we know with people like you. And I've had a chance to do that quite a bit because I wrote a couple of books. I wrote books on balloon sculpturing and on restaurant manual and all that kind of stuff on how to make balloons in the restaurants, and also a clowning manual. And one of the nice things about, well, I guess being a balloon expert and being a silly person like myself is the fact that it doesn't really matter what you make out of balloons. You can either make silly little things like something we're going to learn in today's tape, or you can make something extra special, wonderful, like a hot air balloon that was invented by my friend Bafo. And it doesn't matter what exactly the sculpture it is that you're making. The whole idea is that you're going to have a wonderful time doing it, and I think you're going to have a wonderful time doing this. I've also invited a bunch of my friends along to help me teach you things, because everybody can do this. It doesn't matter if you're 10 years old or 50 years old, and we have 10 years old and 50 years old here to show you that that's true. I guess that's about all I have to say. I'm not so sure. I think it is. Yeah, don't worry. I'll see you later. Bye. Now we're finally ready to start actually making some of these silly balloon sculptures. I have to tell you though, the hardest part begins in the beginning. The hardest part is simply learning how to blow it up in the first place. Let me show you the simplest technique though. The rest is easy, trust me. To begin with, don't spend an hour stretching the balloon to death to try to loosen it up and get it easier to blow. As a matter of fact, that doesn't help at all. Thank you. If you are trying to blow it up and it's so hard to blow up, it's because they're so long and thin in the first place. If you stretch it, you make it even longer and thinner. So rather than stretching it lengthwise, what you want to do is stretch the balloon widthwise, about 2 inches down from the nozzle end of the balloon. This will enable you to get that very first starting bubble, which is the hardest part about making animal balloons in the first place. After you've stretched that part out, just about 2 inches down from the nozzle, then blow on the balloon and also give it a little tug to kind of give it a little extra energy to get started. Just like this. See, it's that easy. Really. Now you give it a try. Now, once you have the first part started, we're ready to move on. And don't be too discouraged if you don't get it right away. Keep trying, it'll come, and keep giving it that little tug. And for those of you who never get it, we'll cover how to handle that problem with an actual balloon pump later at the end of the tape. However, now let's move right on to the next step. The next step is inflating the balloon to the desired length that you want it. You want to try to do it in one breath, because these are the hardest balloons in the world to inflate. So, what you want to do is focus all your energy into one breath and blow it to the distance that you want the very first time. You see, many people will try to blow it up a few times in a row to try to get it to the desired length. But the second time you blow it up, it inflates a little bit more this way, and then a little bit more, and then a little bit more. And therefore, your balloon will pop a lot easier when you start twisting and tying. So, take a very deep breath from your diaphragm, focus your thoughts to exactly how far you want the balloon, and give it one strong breath. Just like that. don't be too discouraged if you can't blow it up very far in the beginning. As you practice and get better and better at using your diaphragm, it will get to the desired length that you want. Now go ahead and give it a try. One deep breath, one focused thrust, and blow it up as far as you can. Good luck. Now that you finally got the balloon inflated, I'll show you the easiest way to tie it. As a matter of fact, I use gloves when I work, and I can tie balloons no problem using gloves even. All you do is take the nozzle end of your balloon and wrap it around 2 fingers instead of 1. Then you stick it in between your 2 fingers, the nozzle that is, and that'll slide right off your hand and be tied in a knot. You don't want to stretch it too much because you can create holes in the end of the balloon. Just around 2 fingers, stick it through, and it pops right off. Go ahead and give it a try. Now we're finally ready to start actually doing some twisting and tying. We're going to teach you the 3 basic techniques you'll need to know to learn every single animal on this tape. As a matter of fact, that's all you need to know for this tape, 3 basic techniques. So take the time to learn them. They're really not hard, and then the rest is easy. Trust me. So now we're ready to get started. But first I'm going to do something that I do every single time I make balloons. And that is I'm going to put my gloves on. What a surprising thing. Most people would think it'd be tougher to make balloons with gloves, but actually it cuts down on the squeaking, it cuts down on the friction, and it makes balloon making a lot more enjoyable. So go out and buy some and give it a chance. Believe me, you won't be sorry. So you should now have a balloon inflated and tied off and ready to go, right? Take that balloon and place it in whichever hand is your strength hand, your writing hand, the hand that you're strong with. I'll call that your anchor hand. Place it in whichever hand that is, and with the knot down at the base of your hand and the length coming out the top of your hand. Now this hand will be good for all your fine motor movements, and you'll be using your other hand to just twist the balloon with. So now let's make our first twist. Pinch the balloon together with your thumb and forefinger and twist the length of the balloon around with your other hand. You'll notice that I'm not twisting this short piece, I'm twisting the length of the balloon. This will be very important later on. There you go, your first twist. Better make sure you don't let go of this first twist though, or it'll come undone. So twist it, whoops, and hold on to it with both sections in your anchor hand. Now move your fingers up a little bit, pinch and make another twist, creating 2 bubbles, both held in your anchor hand. You notice how you might begin to think that you'd run out of room in that hand. Either you couldn't make more than a few twists, or you might keep going so far that the first twist would come undone. I'll show you an easy technique, and it also works even better to measure your twists in the future. What you do is bend the length of the balloon back down into your anchor hand, and now you're ready to reach straight across from that first twist and make the third and final twist in this lock tie. Notice that the first and the third twist are side by side. You lift the 2 top bubbles up and twist them around. You'll lock the first and third twists together, and you'll notice the further you pull them apart, the less friction there is. If they're close together, you might pop the balloon a lot more easily. So pull them apart, twist them around, and you have your first lock tie. Let me show you again. 1 twist, 2 twists, bend it down beside itself so that you can reach across, measure for your third twist, pull the top 2 bubbles up, and lock them off. There you go. You give it a try. Now an interesting technique with this lock tie holding is that you can make as many bubbles in a row as you want before you make the lock tie. Let me show you. You can make 1 bubble, 2 bubbles, 3 bubbles. Now wait a second. A lot of people that do this kind of work will wind up making many bubbles and holding on to each one in their hands until they wind up completely running out of room in their hands and it completely falls apart. Now you see the technique that I'm teaching you will enable you to let the bubbles come out the top of your hand, and that way you can keep working and not run out of room. Let me show you. Bubble, bubbles. Matter of fact, you can do as many bubbles as you want, as long as you hold on to the first bubble and the last bubble, and as long as each twist is twisted the same direction. Now, when you finally pull them apart and lock them off, the first twist and the last twist, they'll create a basic lock tie. It just has many bubble sections in between. You try that. Try to do about, 5 bubbles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bubbles. And then lock them off. Good luck. Now you're going to learn the next technique, which will get us moving on in the tape, except for that this one really changes depending upon the proportions that you use. And that's why I like this technique a lot. It's called a bend tie. It's really built off the exact same principle as the lock tie, except for that it's a bend tie. All I do is make my first twist. Now, instead of making a second twist before I bend the balloon beside itself, I just bend the balloon beside itself and make a final twist to lock it off with. Therefore, a bend tie. See how easy it is? However, like I said, this technique changes dramatically depending upon the proportion of the bend. Such as, if you make a very large bend, you could make a hat tie. Or, if you make a very small bend, you create a kidney-shaped bubble, which we use for an ear tie, and that's our final technique. Make a few bend ties now, though, and then we'll do the ear tie. Bend, lock, bend tie. Now we're going to learn the last technique. It's actually the hardest, but don't be scared. It's very easy. And then we'll be ready to move right on. This one's called the ear tie. And like I said, it's just a variation of the bend tie. However, instead of making a first twist and bending the balloon beside itself, we're going to make the second twist and create just one small bubble. You see, I want to take this bubble and bend that beside itself to create an ear tie. I know what you're saying, but don't be scared. All you have to do is anchor these two sections in one hand and use your fingertips to pull that little bubble out away from the other two sections. Therefore, there's less friction when you twist it around. See what I mean? It creates an ear tie. This is a very easy technique, but it's used for lots of different animals, and it really adds a lot of character. Let me show you this one more time, and then try it on your own. One twist, two twists, hold the balloons anchored in one hand, pull that bubble away from those two balloons, and twist it off. Now, believe it or not, you have every technique to make every single animal in this tape. The lock tie, the bend tie, and the ear tie. That's all you need to make all different kinds of animal goodies. So let's get started. The first animal we're going to make is one that every balloon sculptor in the world makes, because it's the first thing you learn to do. It's the basic dog. And believe me, you've already made it. All it is 3 lock ties in a row. Let me show you what I mean. We do 3 sections: nose, ear, bend it down beside itself, reach across, second ear, and lock that off. There's your dog head. Neck, leg, bend it beside itself, measure the second leg, and you have the front legs. Body, back leg, and back leg. As you can see, it's very simple, and the only things to look for are that your legs are even and that the front legs and back legs are about the same size. Also, I use indelible ink marking pens on all of my animals. because you can take a basic dog and turn it into something special with just a few markings. Give it a try.
Okay.
Remember, nose, ear, ear, lock, neck, leg, leg, lock, and finally, body, leg, leg, lock, and straighten it out. This is our 10-year-old balloon wizard, Mike Taylor, and he's here to show us a giraffe, and he also happens to be my nephew, so I'm kind of happy to have him here.
Well, a giraffe and a dog is much alike because the giraffe and the dog have both ears, plus 2 pairs of legs and a tail. The only difference is the long neck the giraffe has. That's not like a dog. Plus the small body of the giraffe. The dog does not have a long body. Well, that's the giraffe.
Thanks, Mike. Remember, on the giraffe, just like a dog, nose, ear, ear, lock. I like to make my ears kind of small. Long neck, front leg, second leg, lock, small body, and then the back 2 legs. However, notice the difference that the markings make on the giraffe. This is Barbara Clark, and she's the financial management and business brains behind Dune and Balloons, and she also happens to be my mom, and she's going to teach us how to do a rabbit.
The rabbit's very much like the dog. First, you twist off a nose, 2 very long ears, measure those off, then tie those off, a short little neck, 2 small front legs, tying those off, you have the front part of the body. Then you have a very small body, and you bend the balloon in half, twisting off the back legs, and a tiny little twist at the end for the tail, and twisting those off together, then you have the body of the rabbit. 2 large ears, a face, 2 very small front legs, 2 large back legs. And you very carefully place these front legs just inside the back legs so that your rabbit will sit up. And then you draw the eyes on the rabbit. And there you have the rabbit.
Done like a pro. Again, the rabbit is very easy and a basic dog concept. Nose, large ears, smaller front legs, and a small neck, and larger back legs, with the key to the rabbit being placing the front legs into the back legs. And I also like to give my rabbit big eyes, whiskers, and big buck teeth as well. And now it's time to introduce Baffling Boffo, who's going to do Balloon Poodle for us and walk us right through all that kind of stuff. Because one of the nice things about making these silly little animal balloons is you get a chance to be kind of silly little people sometimes. Right, Boffo? So
Sometimes.
Sometimes. So without any further ado, Baffling Boffo.
Okay, thank you. All right, you can call me Boff if you like. The poodle is one of the most famous balloon animals ever known, and one of the most cutest too. Okay, it's a simple balloon. You want to blow it up to about 10 inches long, just about that long. It's the size of my foot or so. No, that's a little too short for my foot. And then you want to make all the balls just about even, okay? You want to make a head and 3 balls right after that. That's going to be the top of his head and his head. And it's just like that. And then you want to make a neck, 4 balls for his legs, so he can walk, of course, just like that. And then a body, just like that. And then 4 more balls, just like the front legs, for his back legs. Because what's a poodle without back legs? And just like that. And you're going to go like this with the tail. You grab the whole thing and push it up. And then what's missing? The markings to make it come alive, of course. And we got the poodle dog, just like that.
Thanks, Boffo.
Now remember, inflate the balloon from approximately 10 to 12 inches long, and remember to make each section the same size as you're twisting. Okay? Here we go. First make 1 bubble for the nose, and then 3 bubbles each the same size, which you lock off, and that creates the poodle head. Next, a neck. 4 bubbles in a row for the front leg section. Lock that off. And again, 4 bubbles in a row for the back leg section. Now the hard part is the tail, because that is the hard part to get for everyone. What you want to do is squeeze the tail, squeeze the air, but don't pinch off this part. Let the air pass through there. Bing! Just like that. Very good. And finally, we give it a face. Dun, 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 dun.
This is my beautiful wife, Bridget, and many moons ago I won her heart by making her a little Mickey Mouse, and so I thought I'd invite her along to share it with you. And you'll notice that the reason we like this one a lot is because you only have to inflate it a little.
And it's really easy to do. All you have to do is 6 basic twists, all about the same size. Twist the first and last off together. And there you have it. You have the face, cheeks, ears, and forehead. It doesn't look like much of a mouse now, but once you do the ear ties, and roll the nose up into the cheeks, it looks like a mouse. I like to put the eyes up here and give it a big smile and a few whiskers. And that's the mouse. You can also make it a popping mouse. Whoops.
Whoops.
There we go.
Just to run through this again really quickly. 6 bubbles in a row, all about the same size. Lock the first and the last twist off. Make ear twists on either ear. And then finally, pull the nose up in between the cheeks to create the face of the mouse. Now, I don't give my mouse a body, legs or anything like that, because from a distance, he looks more like a mouse, just like this. Now I'd like to introduce Sharon, the super balloon lady. She's been ballooning around with me for coming up on, I guess, her 5-year pin now, which I'm not going to give her one because it pops the balloons, but she's going to share with us how to make a cat, kitty cat.
Well, first you start with the balloon. You want to make sure that you leave a little tail on the end because we're going to do a lot of twists with this balloon. First thing I do is I make a nice little kitty cat nose. They need a nice little nose. And also kind of long cheeks and little kitty cat ears. This is a lot like the mouse that we saw. Except he gets a very small forehead, about half the size of the cheek. You can see that. And another ear and a matching cheek. Now you twist all that together and make sure that the nose comes out the front. And right here, our ears are all ready for our ear tie. Putting the dimple in front. Same on that side. Now for Kitty's nose, I bring it around the back and poke it through so that it really gives a real kitty cat look to the face. Then you give him a little neck. And the body of a cat is very similar to a dog, but don't tell the dogs. It's got 2 legs, a body, and 2 more legs. Remember to leave a nice long tail. Of course, the finishing touch is the kitty cat face. And I give him very simple but large kitty cat eyes and the all-important whiskers. And there we have our kitty cat.
Now, to run through the kitty cat again quickly. Small nose, larger cheeks, small ears, smaller forehead than the cheeks, and a final cheek twist. Lock the ears off. Pull the nose bubble through the back of the head so that it pokes out cutely, as Sharon stated. And then a basic dog body. 2 legs, a body, 2 back legs, and a long tail. Now again, kitty cat is one where markings make all the difference, as we'll see in just a moment, because you can actually make it into a few different animals. It can either become a tiger or a Cheshire cat. Take a minute because the next animal I'm just going to completely throw you about 4 curves in a row. So I thought I'd do it to you myself, but actually, don't worry. Again, it's very easy. We're going to do a parrot. Make a very small bubble in the beginning for the parrot beak, and then a larger section for the parrot head. And all you do is pull the knot of the balloon straight down and wrap it around the tie at the base of the head. Then you take the knot and push it behind the beak to lock it off. I'll show you this in just a second with a close-up. But I do want to take a moment to show you how the face will look on the parrot. See how easy that is? I know it's a new technique, but I think it's a pretty easy one. Now the next step is also a new technique, but again, it's very easy. You simply make 1 section for 1 wing and a second section for a wing, and you'd lock it off. Now, unlike the dog, the parrot doesn't have a neck. You just simply lock it off right underneath the head. Then you bring a 3rd section down even with the 2 wing sections and twist it off there. This section you will push in between the 2 wings, rolling the wings around that middle section, and that will create what we call a parrot body. I wonder why. Probably because that's what it is, a parrot body. Finally, simply make a big ear twist for the foot and make sure that the tail lines up with the single section in the back of the parrot. Now the reason I make this kind of a foot rather than actual feet on the parrot is that if you pull the foot and the tail apart, you can create a little friction where he will sit on your finger, just like that. Again, here we go. Small ball for the beak, larger section for the head. Pull the beak down across the head by pulling the knot and push it in behind the beak to lock it off. There's your parrot face. Now, a section for one wing and a second section for the other wing, locking them off right at the neck of, or at the base of the head. A third section, same size as the first two, which I push through the first two, making sure that it locks. Finally, a large ear tie for the foot and a perch on the finger. Hi everybody! I just thought I'd jump in here real quickly just to show you a variation of the parrot that I invented myself. You make a basic parrot beak like you did before, only you make 3 dots immediately following that, 3 bubbles, just like, say, like the poodle head. You know, it'll look just like a poodle head. However, when you make the parrot head and you pull the beak down and wrap the knot around, you create a different looking face. You create a cockatiel face rather than a regular parrot face because it has the headdress on top. And I like this one a lot. Again, make your beak bubble and then 3 bubbles before you make the head. Lock those off, make sure you twist them really well, and then pull the knot down to create the bird beak. And that's all there is to it. And here's Barbara Clark again to show us a really new animal, but one that I really like a lot. It's the bumblebee.
The bumblebee is quite different than any other animal that we've made, but it's very simple. Twist off the nose, just like we've done in the other animals. Go all the way down to the end and twist off a little body at the end. Have 2 twists off. We tie those off together. We have this great big loop that's left. And we bring the loop down, smash it in the middle, and twist it off. We have a very beautiful little bumblebee who needs some beautiful eyes, and it wouldn't be complete without these little markings. Makes you know it's a bumblebee. Zzz.
Again, the bumblebee is quick and easy, an excellent, cute balloon for those times when you gotta crank them out as fast as possible. Make a loop. Make sure that you make the body of the bumblebee just a little bit larger than the head. Bring down the center of the loop, squeeze it together, and lock it off. Position the body and the wings, and again, a face and stripes. Zzz. This is the amazing Sean the Balloon Man, who is one of my co-workers and one of my inspirations, and he's going to share with us Peas in a Pod, a balloon inside of a balloon.
Peas in a pod is really easier than it really looks. What you want to do is you want to make a small ball, smaller than the diameter of the balloon. And you want to get 3 fingers on top and kind of anchor it with your other hand so you get a firm grip. And then push it in like a finger length inside of the balloon. So it's like that. Grab the ball with your other hand and then yank your finger out. And then without letting any air go, kind of push the ball in like that.
It's kind of hard to see. We'll show it with backlighting in a moment, but there is a ball inside of the balloon. Then you have to retie it. One of the neatest things about this technique is that you can do more than one bubble inside of the balloon, and you can create like a peas in a pod effect. We're going to have Sean do a third bubble inside this one, and I'll show you how it looks. Simply make the ball, stuff it inside the length of the balloon with a finger, grab the ball with the other hand, and pop your finger out. Then, of course, you have to retie the knot. Very good. We'll show you how this works and how it looks. We lost one inside there, though.
Oh well.
Oh well.
That looks good.
Another one of the great things that you can do with the peas in a pod technique is make a pregnant dog or make an animal with a little ball in his tummy. Let me show you how it's done. Poke the ball in, break it off so that it separates, and tie your knot off. Then you simply make the same animal you would normally make, except for that you make sure when you make the body section, turn it upside down so that the ball comes into the body, and you make the rest of the dog. Now this one, you will note, would have a little balloon inside of it. Be a pregnant dog. This is Dwayne. He's our producer-director today, and he's been making balloons for about 3 weeks now, something like that. And he came up with his own original sculpture that we're going to share with you right now.
This is called our bathtub buddy. And this starts out just like a regular little dog. You twist. Pull the twist off. This is the head. Make a neck. Okay, now we need to make a little ear because the neck is going to have to stay up on the body. Now this item will float in the bathtub. Make the little bubble here, like that, for the ear. And we take the body clear around like this and drop down here. Pull the loop away. And this way, with the head sticking up, and pull the balloon, the end underneath, in between, like that. And we take the rest of the air and push it all the way to the very end, like that. Except, we pull it clear around like this, back to the body again. So then we have our little bathroom buddy, and it can go along and float through the water.
Which just goes to show you where Dwayne spent all of his time, you know, working on the videotape.
Dwayne?
Well, you've heard the
bathtub?
joke, haven't you? Dwayne the bathtub, I'm drowning. Haven't you
Yeah.
heard that joke? That's not my balloon.
Okay.
One of the great things about this art is the fact that you can get wild and crazy and creative with it, and that's what I like about it so much. So let's just run through Dwayne's bathtub buddy really quickly. Basic dog head, ear twist to keep the neck up off the body, bend twist for the base of the body, bring the balloon up through the bend twist, then bring the air all the way out to the end of the balloon and wrap it around through the bend twist so that it sticks up. I think Dwayne's whole idea was that you could use this as a little play toy to play with it and mess around with it and all that kind of stuff.
in the bathtub.
Oh. I'm back again. This time I thought I'd jump in because we're going to head into one of the most fun things that you can do with balloons, and that is hat sculptures. You see, people love to wear balloon hats. It makes them wild and silly and makes them feel like they're having even more fun than you can possibly imagine. I'm just going to show you a very, very basic hat to begin with, and then we'll show you bunches of hats so that you can create your own ideas. Remember in the beginning of the tape where Dune taught you how to make a large bend twist for a hat band? Well, that's exactly what I'm going to make. Just a large bend twist, and that's the basis of every single hat band that I've ever made. Bing! I'll also put like a poodle tail on the end to kind of add to it. Now, you can put any kind of addition to this hat band that you would absolutely possibly want. I'm going to do just a basic 3-point hat. Let me show you how I do it. I'm going to place a balloon right up here next to the hat band, twist a little bubble off, and wrap that bubble around the hat band to lock the balloon onto it. See how easy that is? Let me do it again. Twist and wrap it around the hat band to lock it on, and finally twist and wrap it around the hat band to lock it on. Now I could leave it like this. It kind of gets wild and crazy, as you can see, or I could do lots of things with it. Like I could gather them all together, twist them off, and put little bubblies in the end of each one. Now this looks pretty silly, I think, especially when you put it on a hat like this. See how easy that is? You ain't seen nothing yet. Take a look. One of the most silly things a balloon person can ever do is get a whole group of people wearing hats together at parties or wherever you're at. So we thought we'd get a whole group of people together wearing hats. Here we are. We thought we'd just take a quick minute to show you each one of these hats so that you could have it to memorize and make one of your own. This is the Ballooney collection. Michael Taylor is wearing the French braid special extravaganza. Barbara is demonstrating the eyeglass, water wings for glasses, and the super starburst and heart extravaganza. Diane is wearing something from our Easter collection. You'll notice the puffy white balls going up and the marvelous chin strap for those windy afternoons.
Okay.
Bafo is wearing our electric helicopter hat extravaganza special.
Use it when you get really warm.
Todd is wearing a very simple but elegant shooter hat extravaganza.
All right. Oh, no.
Let's take
Dwayne is modeling our Mr. Bubble bathtub extravaganza hat. You'll notice the parasol is extra. Today, the voluptuous Tripper is modeling one of our very elegant sculpture hat extravaganzas. We call it Clowns on Clowns on Clowns. And now it's time to introduce Baffling Bafo again, because we're going to show you something that's really fun. It's called balloon shooters. Are you ready?
Wasn't that fun?
That was great. Okay, Boffo, go for it.
How'd that one go?
All right. These are the most fun. I have the most fun out of these at parties and stuff like that, and in the restaurant and stuff. And what you do is blow them up as straight as possible. Really straight, almost all the way. Leave about 4 or 5 inches at the end. About an arm's length, like that. I'll get a couple of them together. Can you hold that one for a second? Ah!
Thanks, Boffo.
Okay, we got them together. We got it all straight, just like this, real straight. Then you want to put your finger right in the end with a knot. Push it all the way in, about a finger length in there, and you want to grab it, and you have your thumb and your other finger holding it, okay? And then you take the end and you point it at any subject that you want, and then you release it.
And actually, you can shoot these about 45 feet with
At
practice.
least.
Yeah, they're great fun. I wish we had more room to show you, but let's show you one more time. Ready?
I can hit anything I aim at.
Finger in the knot.
People really just
Hold
know
the
where they
balloon.
came from.
Aim at your cameraman.
And
shoot.
fire!
We got him. What else can you do with shooters, Tripper?
Shooters are great for hat games. You make somebody a hat with a loop on the top of it, just like that. You take your shooters and boom! Shoot it right through! Told you, Buffo.
That was great, Buffo.
Thank you.
All right.
How much fun was that?
Yeah, that was great fun.
All right. How much fun?
What a wonderful time! We've had a great time. I hope you've had a good time. As a matter of fact, I hope this is just the beginning of the good times that you're going to have. There's just a couple of things we got to cover really quick before we're done. Oh yeah, the balloon pump. I talked about this earlier because lots of people absolutely, positively cannot blow up balloons. So, luckily, somebody in the world invented a great balloon pump. That's all it takes. And then you can do exactly the same thing that I've been doing and we've been doing throughout the entire show. See, there's not much difference in that one. Here, could you hold this? Oh, excuse me, I'm so sorry. Oh, what else was there? Oh, that's right. We also wanted to let you know that on the tape box on the back somewhere, there's a list of all the stuff, and I think they're going to do it in the credits, that you can get either at your local magic store or here through delivery, balloon, mail and that kind of stuff with us. And because that way you can get a chance to get all the little extra things like the pens and the gloves and the pumps and the books and maybe even gift packages, and we could just do just about everything with this kind of stuff. Oh, there was one other thing I wanted to talk to you about, and that's the best way to practice from here on out. I mean, we've said a lot, had a good time, I think, kind of together, working together, and had our friends here and everything. But if you take these balloons with you now and you put them in your pocket and you take them out into the world, wherever you go, you'll find opportunities to make them everywhere. You might make them in the grocery store for the little kids that are crying, or you might make them for just anybody, anywhere. Especially if you get into a party situation, you make hats for everybody, it gets wild and crazy, as you could tell by how wild and crazy we got. The other thing and the final thing I wanted to let you know was we are going to have another videotape covering more complicated type stuff. We're going to go into audience participation things. We're going to go into more complicated balloons like you saw Buffo's hot air balloon. We may even get into maybe all kinds of decorations. You never know what we might get into with our next tape, and I'm sure you'll be able to buy that at the same place you bought this one. You know what? I just want to say one last thing. And that is that I really appreciate being able to bring all this silliness to you all, and I really appreciate the fact that this balloon stuff is going crazy. We're gonna attack the world with this. Everybody wants to do it. Everybody's having a wonderful time, and I just really appreciate being a part of that. Thanks for tuning in, and have a great time.
Dooney?
Yeah?
Did you say balloon party?
Balloon party? I love balloons! This is so great! There's balloons everywhere! Bye, everybody! Have a good time in your house with all your balloons.
Okay? Then they're very tasty on those lean months when you've got nothing else. They're low in calories, but they're chewy, soil. And again,
A latex exchange. That'll work.
Try that, yeah. That might be a stop. I didn't get it right. No, let's do it again. All right.
Okay.
Twisting up the balloons. Take 1, 5, 4, 3.
Now beware, have a care, you're just filled with air. A single pin would rip your skin.
And the pin-cushion man in the forest there would pop you both if you don't take care. Oh, such